Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Morrowind. I know it's been a while, and you'll see there have been a few changes off screen. Let me catch you up on everything I did. There actually isn't that much, it just took a while. I remember I told you that I was going to work on leveling up unarmored and possibly light armor. As you can see, I did that. Each of those skills are now at 100. Someone mentioned in the comments that it might be harder to do it at lower levels with low health, but I actually think it's easier to do it early when your agility is still low because the enemies can hit you more easily. If you wait too long, then you'll have to sit there for 5 minutes before an enemy can even score a single hit. So that's done. We don't have to worry about it anymore, which is fairly cool. As I was doing that, when I got down to that last hit and had to kill an enemy, a spear was creeping up. So as that went on, eventually Spear would hit its 10th rank and I would level up. In each instance I took Strength, Endurance, and Luck. We made it all the way to level 8, so we now have 89 health, still 225 Magicka, 230 Fatigue, Strength is up to 65, Endurance is up to 85, and Luck is up to 57. In every instance I alternated in 10 ranks of Acrobatics, in order to keep strength coming up. And I finally hit 100 spear as well. That was in advancing to level 8. That was my last level up. So, in order to raise light armor, I used all my Dark Brotherhood gear plus the Netch Leather Tower Shield I had found, although I made sure to keep my spear equipped so I never actually blocked any attacks. As you can see, we've made no progress on block. And on the current level, I've raised Acrobatics 9 ranks to 89. I equipped all the medium armor I previously had, which was this Bone Mold Shield, this Imperial Chain Coif for Coif, this Imperial Chain Cuirass, and these Imperial Chain Greaves. I went to Ulernil and purchased these 2 Bone Mold Bracers and Bone Mold Boots. I have elected not to pursue a grind of medium armor just yet because I'm still missing things that would assist in that endeavor. Specifically, I need some medium pauldrons, which I don't yet have. So I'll leave the Dark Brotherhood pauldrons on for now, which will put me at a respectable armor rating of 25. I've cycled through several repair prongs and purchased back up to 10 and change. I found, while I was out killing things with my spear, a couple of cliff racers, so my 2 trauma roots have turned into levitate potions. I grabbed a couple of marshmallows while I was out, just to turn my 2 resins into restore health potions, one of which I actually used because I didn't want to rest. And finally, I found when I reached level 6, I started encountering bull netch, so I now have a lot of netch leather, 183 to be precise. Other than netch leather, if a monster dropped an ingredient with a positive first effect, I just ate it. I sold some rat meat, so my gold total is about where I left it, in the neighborhood of 85,000. Okay, I think that about catches you up. The reason I only did 9 ranks of acrobatics is because I have an acrobatics skill book that we can go ahead and read. The Black Arrow Volume 1. You've gained knowledge from this book. Your acrobatics skill increased to 90. Good. So let me account for that on my lists, if you'll just give me a moment. So now at level 9, we can't use spear to raise endurance anymore, so in case it wasn't obvious, the idea now is to use medium armor. We need 10 ranks. But because I don't have pauldrons, there's no point in sitting around soaking up hits if I can't guarantee they're gonna go to medium armor, so we won't start messing with this skill in earnest until I find a couple of medium pauldrons. The Black Arrow Part 1 by Gorgic Gwyn. I was young when the Duchess of Woda hired me as an assistant footman at her summer palace. My experience with the ways of the titled aristocracy was very limited before that day. There were wealthy merchants, traders, diplomats, and officials who had large operations in Eldenroot and ostentatious palaces for entertaining, but my relatives were all far from those social circles. There was no family business for me to enter when I reached adulthood, but my cousin heard that an estate far from the city required servants. It was so remotely located that there were unlikely to be many applicants for the positions. I walked for 5 days into the jungles of Valenwood before I met a group of riders going my direction. They were 3 Bosmer men, 1 Bosmer woman, 2 Breton women, and a Dunmer man, adventurers from the look of them. "Are you also going to Maliva?" asked Prolissa, one of the Breton women, after we had made our introductions. "I don't know what that is," I replied. "I'm seeking a domestic position with the Duchess of Woda." "We'll take you to her gate," said the Dunmer Missoon Aiken, pulling me up to his horse. "But you would be wise not to tell her Grace that students from Maliva escorted you, not unless you don't really want the position in her service." Aiken explained himself as we rode on. Maliva was the closest village to the Duchess's estate, where a great and renowned archer had retired after a long life of military service. His name was Hyomaste, and though he was retired, he had begun to accept students who wished to learn the art of the bow. In time, when word spread of the great teacher, more and more students arrived to learn from the master. The Breton women had come down all the way from the western reach of High Rock. Aiken himself had journeyed across the continent from his home near the great volcano in Morrowind. He showed me the ebony arrows he had brought from his homeland. I had never seen anything so black. "From what we've heard," said Kopali, one of the Bosmer men, "the Duchess is an Imperial whose family has been here even before the Empire was formed, so you might think that she was accustomed to the common people of Valenwood. Nothing could be further from the truth. She despises the village, and the school most of all." "I suppose she wants to control all the traffic in her jungle," laughed Prolissa. I accepted the information with gratitude and found myself dreading more and more my first meeting with the intolerant Duchess. My first sight of the palace through the trees did nothing to assuage my fears. It was nothing like any building I had ever seen in Valenwood, a vast edifice of stone and iron, with a jagged row of battlements like the jaws of a great beast. Most of the trees near the palace had been hewn away long ago. I could only imagine the scandal that must have caused, and what fear the Bosmer peasants must have had of the Duchy of Woda to have allowed it. In their stead was a wide gray-green moat circling in a ring around the palace, so it seemed to be on a perfect if artificial island. I had seen such sights in tapestries from High Rock in the Imperial Province, but never in my homeland. "There will be a guard at the gate, so we'll leave you here," said Aiken, stopping his horse in the road. "It'd be best for you if you weren't damned by association with us." I thanked my companions and wished them good luck with their schooling. They rode on, and I followed on foot. In a few minutes' time I was at the front gate, which I noticed was linked to tall and ornate railings to keep the compound secure. When the gatekeeper understood that I was there to inquire about a domestic position, he allowed me past and signaled to another guard across the open lawn to extend the drawbridge and allow me to cross the moat. There was one last security measure, the front door, an iron monstrosity with the Woda coat of arms across the top, reinforced by more strips of iron and a single golden keyhole. The man standing guard unlocked the door and gave me passage into the huge, gloomy, gray stone palace. Her Grace greeted me in her drawing room. She was thin and wrinkled like a reptile, cloaked in a simple red gown. It was obvious that she never smiled. Our interview consisted of a single question. "Do you know anything about being a junior footman in the employment of an imperial noblewoman?" Her voice was like ancient leather. "No, Your Grace." "Good. No servant ever understands what needs to be done, and I particularly dislike those who think they do. You're engaged." Life at the palace was joyless, but the position of junior footman was very undemanding. I had nothing to do on most days except to stay out of the Duchess's sight. At such times I usually walked 2 miles down the road to Maliva. In some ways there was nothing special or unusual about the village. There are thousands of identical places in Valenwood, but on the hillside nearby was Master Hyomaste's archery academy, and I would often take my luncheon and watch the practice. Prolissa and Aiken would sometimes meet me afterwards. With Aiken, the subjects of conversation very seldom strayed far from archery. Though I was very fond of him, I found Prolissa a more enchanting companion. not only because she was pretty for a Breton, but also because she seemed to have interests outside the realm of marksmanship. "There's a circus in High Rock I saw when I was a little girl called the Quill Circus," she said during one of our walks through the woods. "They've been around for as long as anyone can remember. You have to see them if you ever can. They have plays and sideshows and the most amazing acrobats and archers you've ever seen. That's my dream, to join them someday when I'm good enough." "How will you know when you're a good enough archer?" I asked. She didn't answer, and when I turned I realized that she had disappeared. I looked around, bewildered, until I heard laughter from the tree above me. She was perched on a branch, grinning. "I may not join as an archer. Maybe I'll join as an acrobat," she said. "Or maybe as both. I figured that Valenwood would be the place to go to see what I could learn. You've got all those great teachers to imitate in the trees here, those ape men." She coiled up, bracing her left leg before springing forward on her right. In a second she had leapt across to a neighboring branch. I found it difficult to keep talking to her. "The Imga, you mean?" I stammered. "Aren't you nervous up at that height?" "It's a cliché, I know," she said, jumping to an even higher branch, "but the secret is not to ever look down. Would you mind coming down?" "I probably should anyhow," she said. She was a good 30 feet up now, balancing herself, arms outstretched, on a very narrow branch. She gestured toward the gate just barely visible on the other side of the road. "This tree is actually as close as I want to get to your Duchess's palace." I held back a gasp as she dove off the branch, somersaulting until she landed on the ground, knees slightly bent. That was the trick, she explained, anticipating the blow before it happened. I expressed to her my confidence that she would be a great attraction at the Quill Circus. Of course, I know now that never was to be. On that day, as I recall, I had to return early. It was one of the rare occasions when I had work of a sort to do. Whenever the Duchess had guests, I was to be at the palace. That is not to say that I had any particular duties, except to be seen standing at attention in the dining room. The stewards and maids worked hard to bring in the food and clear the plates afterwards, but the footmen were purely decorative, a formality. But at least I was an audience for the drama to come. So we'll take that book. We can sell it now. The other one we can go ahead and read is Bone, Part 1. You've gained knowledge from this book. Your medium armor skill increased to 16. Let me reflect that on my notes as well. Nine ranks of medium armor will level us up. Bone, Part 1, by Tabby Dromio. "It seems to me," said Garaz, thoughtfully looking into the depths of his flint, "that all great ideas come from pure happenstance. Take, for instance, the story I told you last night about my cousin. If he hadn't fallen off that horse, he never would have become one of the Empire's foremost alchemists. It was late one Midas night at the King's Ham, and the regulars were always especially inclined toward philosophy." "I disagree," replied Jomara, firmly but politely. "Great ideas and inventions are most often formed slowly over time by diligence and hard work. If you'll recall my tale from last month, the young lady, who I assure you is based on a real person, only recognized her one true love after she had slept with practically everyone in North Point." "I put it to you that neither is the case," said Hallgerd, pouring a topper on his mug of grief. "The greatest inventions are created by extraordinary need. Must I remind you of the story I told some time ago about Arslicone and the invention of bone mold?" "The problem with your theory is that your example is entirely fictional," sniffed Jomara. "I don't believe I remember the story of Arslicone and the invention of bone mold," frowned Garaz. "Are you sure you told us?" "Well, this happened many, many, many years ago, when Vardenfell was a beauteous green land, when Dunmer Keimer and Dwemer and Nord lived together in relative peace when they weren't trying to kill one another." Hallgerd relaxed in his chair, warming to his theme. "When the sun and moons all hung in the sky together." "Lord, mother, and wizard," grumbled Jomara. "If I'm going to be forced to hear your ridiculous story again, pray don't embellish and make it any longer than it has to be." "This all happened in Vardenfell quite some time ago," said Hallgerd, ignoring Jomara's interruption with admirable restraint, "during an era of a king you would never have heard of." Arslicone was one of this king's nobles and very, very disagreeable fellow. Because of his allegiance to the crown, the king had felt the need to grant him a castle and land, but he didn't necessarily want him as a neighbor, so the land he granted was far from civilization. Right in an area of Vardenfell that is, even today, not quite civilized to this day, Arslicone built a walled stronghold and settled down with his unhappy slaves to enjoy a quiet if somewhat grim life. It was not long before his stronghold's integrity was tested. A tribe of cannibalistic Nords had been living in the valley for some time, mostly dining on one another, but occasionally foraging for what they liked to call dark meat, the Dunmer. Jomara laughed with appreciation. Marvelous! I don't remember that from before. It's funny how you don't hear much about the Nords' rampant cannibalism nowadays. This was obviously, as I've said, quite some time ago, said Hallgerd, glaring at part of his audience with civil malevolence, and things were in many ways quite different. These cannibalistic Nords began attacking Arslicone's slaves in the fields, and then slowly grew bolder until they held the very stronghold itself under siege. They were quite a fearsome sight, you can imagine. A horde of wild-eyed men and women with dagger-like teeth filed to tear flesh, wielding massive clubs, cloaked only in the skins of their victims. Arslicone assumed that if he ignored them, they'd go away. Unfortunately, the first thing that the Nords did was to poison the stream that carried water into the walled stronghold. All the livestock and most of the slaves died very quickly before this was discovered. There was no hope of rescue, at least for several months when the king's emissaries would come reluctantly to visit the disagreeable vassal. The next closest source of water was on the other side of the hill, so Arslicone sent 3 of his slaves with empty jugs to bring some back. They were beaten with clubs and eaten before they were a few feet outside the stronghold gates. The next group he sent through he gave sticks to defend themselves. They made it a few feet farther, but were also overwhelmed, beaten, and devoured. It was obvious that better personal defense was required. Arslicone went to talk to his armorer, one of his few slaves with specific talents and duties. The slaves need armor if they're going to make it to the river and back, he said. Collect every scrap of steel and iron you can find, every hinge, knife, ring, cup, everything that isn't needed to keep the walls sturdy. Smelt it and give me the most and the best armor you can, very, very quickly. The armorer, whose name was Gorkith, was used to Arslicone's demands, and knew that there could be no compromise on the quality and quantity of the armor, or the speed at which he worked. He labored for 30 hours without a break, and, recall, without any water to slake his thirst as he struggled with the kiln and anvil, until finally he had 6 suits of mixed metal armor. 6 slaves were chosen, clad in the armor, and sent with jars to collect river water. At first the mission progressed well. The Nord attacked the armored slaves with their clubs, but they continued their march forward, warding off the blows. Gradually, however, the slaves seemed to be walking uncertainly, dazed by the endless barrage. Eventually, one by one, they fell, the armor was peeled from their bodies, and they were eaten. The slaves couldn't move quickly enough in that heavy armor you made, said Arslicone to Gorkith. I need you to collect all the cadavers of the poisoned livestock, strip their skin, and give me the most and the best leather armor you can, very, very quickly. Gorkith did as he was told, though it was a particularly repulsive task given the rancid state of the livestock. Normally it takes quite a time to treat and cure leather, so I understand, but Gorkith worked at it tirelessly, and in a half a day he had 12 suits of leather armor. 12 slaves were chosen, clad in the armor, and sent with jars to collect river water. They progressed at first much better than the earlier expedition. 2 fell almost immediately, but the others had some luck outmaneuvering their assailants while deflecting an occasional blow of the club. Several got to the river, 3 were able to fill up their jars, and 1 fellow very nearly made it back to the stronghold gates. Alas, he fell and was eaten. The Nords possessed a remarkably healthy appetite. What we need before I completely run out of slaves, said Arslicone thoughtfully to Gorkith, is an armor sturdier than leather but lighter than metal. The armorer had already considered that and taken stock of the materials available. He had thought about doing something with stone or wood, but there were practical problems with demolishing more of the stronghold. The next most prevalent stuff present in the stronghold was skinned dead bodies, hunks of muscle, fat, blood, and bone. For 6 hours he toiled relentlessly until he produced 18 suits of bone mold, the first ones ever created. Arslicone was somewhat dubious at the sight and smell, but he was very thirsty and willing to sacrifice another 18 slaves if necessary. Might I suggest, Gorklith queried tremulously, having the slaves practice moving about in the armor here in the courtyard before sending them to face the Nords? Arslicone coolly allowed it, and for a few hours the slaves wandered about the stronghold courtyard in their suits of bone mold. They grew used to the give of the joints, the rigidity of the backplate, the weight pushed onto their shoulders and hips. They discovered how to plant their feet slightly askew to keep their balance steady, how to quickly turn, pivoting without falling down, how to break into a run and stop quickly. By the time they were sent out of the castle gates, they were easily, very nearly, almost amateurs in the use of their medium-weight armor. 17 of them were killed and eaten, but one made it back with a jar of water. It's perfect nonsense, said Jomara, but my point is still valid even so. Like all great inventors, even in fiction, the armorer worked diligently to create the bone mold. I think there was a good deal of happenstance as well, frowned Garaz, but it is an appalling story. I wish you hadn't told me. If you think that's appalling, grinned Hallgerd, you should hear what happened next. Alright, we'll save these still. That one's mercantile and that one's restoration. We're not ready to raise those yet. So, after a good deal of grinding in and around Pelagiad, let's sell these books off and then get back to exploring. My philosophy on grinding in Morrowind and Oblivion is a little bit different than Skyrim in that, generally speaking, the question I ask myself is, do I have everything I need to max out this skill? If the answer is yes, I figure you should go ahead and do it. And particularly though, I tend to do it off. My inclination is to do it off screen so you don't have to sit there and watch. Alright, so position yourself with the fort due south of you. You can see a sort of quasi-path on the local map. For our first excursion, we want to head due north on that path. We're going to explore the dungeons and other locations in and around Pelagiad on our way to Balmora. Let's head up here. I see a cliff racer. It's always fun. We'll deal with it. Let's harvest these plants. We have several marshmallow, which are quite useful. They have a restore health effect on them, so we'll want to hold on to those. And in fact, it's the first effect, so if we get hurt, we can just eat marshmallow if we want to. It's not ideal, but it's a possibility. There are 2 creche weeds. Well, 1 creche weed here at the entrance to this place. And now we can actually head through into Panat. And we are immediately attacked by this gal, who goes down fairly easily. That is Lorchel. Let's see what she has that's worth carrying out, if anything. Probably nothing. Yes, okay, so an iron war axe. I've got better than that at home. I've got better light armors. I have no need for common pants. So we'll leave her be. Just fix my own spear. There's a glass lantern here, but let's go down here into the water. Just to see if there's anything worthwhile. I'm actually pretty sure there isn't, but I like to be sure. Up here, you might have noticed an overhang. That's actually real, and I forgot about it. I'd like to deal with it. So let me just run back right quick, since our temporary base of operations is so close. It's kind of nice being able to just... It's kind of nice having a weapon skill maxed, so I can just use it without worry. Yeah, oh, I definitely have a better axe, but what I wanted was one of my levitation potions. I'll bring a restore health too. Heck, I'll bring all of them. That's why I have them, right? They're useful. Here's a Kagudi. Nothing particularly useful there, but we can still sell the hide. I actually like that crab meat is going to restore my fatigue, so I'll eat one of those and just enjoy the effect. And at the same time, let's quaff one of those levitation potions. Head up to this overhang above the bridge, where there are goodies stashed. If I can fit, and just barely I can. It's a cloth sack with 100 gold. But the big obvious deal is this dwarven halberd, which is an upgrade over my silver flame skewer. You can see it's 5 to 28 as opposed to 5 to 23 on its best attack. And in fact, I'm even going to replace the hotkey. Dwarven halberd is good enough to hit anything that's resistant to normal weapons, so we don't have to worry about that. And I guess the last thing to be checking on is what, if anything, beats my usual 10 to 1 value-weight ratio. Amazingly, the silver flame skewer doesn't, so it's not even worth selling. The same is true of a Kagudi hide. The same is true of rat meat, actually. Glass lantern does not. What about anything Lorchel is carrying? No. 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 Okay, good. That sorts that out. And now we're ready to continue. I need to make a few notes. I'm just taking some notes. Okay, there we go. And now we'll move on. Oh, a Nick sound. Didn't expect to see critters in here. Blighted Nick sound to boot, so we got to be careful with these. We can contract a blight disease if we're not careful. Now they have restore fatigue effects as well, just because I like to be able to run around without consequence, so I'll keep that effect active if I can. There's a standard Nick sound, goes down much easier. Alright, so straight ahead is a trapped old gate. And to the left is a level 15 locked old gate. Let's deal with both. Okay. No need to repair yet. And there's 18 security. Lovely. So we'll have to check old locks after this and see if that extra rank gives us any traction in picking them open. But we'll finish up here in Panat first. Alright, let's head up. Who do we have here? So even with my extra levels, I'm not exactly awesome with medium armor. And as you can see, she's quite able to kill me in one hit, so what we need to do is take advantage of our spear's range and do our very best to keep her back. Keep her staggered and keep her out of range. Spears have the longest range of any melee weapon in the game, so got her. Good. Alright, so this is Boomgralogob. Anything worth taking? No. No, 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 no. Okay. At this point, I think I'll just save my potion, eat a marshmallow, repair my halberd before moving on. Keep my fatigue up with the hound meat. Alright. So here we have three slaves, but we don't have the key to free them yet.
Why do you approach?
We have Ikapi, Ula, and Sabi. There we go. Alright, so we'll come back for them after we find the slave key. Oh, let's check these. Oh, there's the Panat slave key right there. I didn't realize there was a copy in here. That's awesome. Good. Alright, so let's nick that. The redware candle is not worth taking. Not simply for sale, anyway. So here's e-copy.
Has no words for you.
Go free. Of course. So we freed enough to... We'll free Ula. And we'll free Sabi. None of them are giving details about the twin lamps yet. That will come later. So let's check this crate. There's a scroll of Ondusi's unhinging, which is worth selling. There's moon sugar, which is worth selling to people who will take it. There's an exclusive restore strength, which is worth selling. And some common clothes that aren't. Another scroll of Ondusi's unhinging. Bread to restore fatigue. Cyrodiilic brandy is worth selling. Iron tower shield, no need. Inside the barrel. Iron right pauldron, steel tower shield. Cyrodiilic brandy, gold, and some soul trap. I don't think that's... Yeah, I have an Imperial Steel Tower Shield, so there's no need for that. And let's check this worn chest as well. It turns out to be empty. Let's look at the value. Yeah, no need. Okay, good. Let's head back here. Let's get our fatigue restoration going again. And let's hit this other door. Oops. Need my probe to disarm the trap. Tough one, but we're through. And we have here Soar. I'm unsure why he's running at us unarmed, but seems he actually wants to fight hand to hand. Go figure. Alright, what's he got? Anything? No. Groovy. Alrighty. Now, we'll move on. I think the last one's a mage. Always have to be careful of that. Yes. Ah, Atronach spell absorption is for winners. So that's Dravil Omavel. Let's see if he's got anything worthwhile. Ooh, possibly. That Orcish battle axe is definitely worth taking. It's heavy, but look at that value. And he's got another Panat slave key. Okay. And we'll take his gold too. Not that it matters much. Alright, so let's check his platform. Scroll of Elemental Burst, Fire. Scroll of Summon Skeleton. Scroll of the Mage's Eye. Fortify Fatigue, Fortify Magicka, Cyrodiilic Brandy. Yeah, these are worth taking for sure. That goblet is not. The Axeman is fairly obviously an axe skill book. which we won't be reading yet. Just got to take notes. There's so many things to keep track of. They kind of swirl around in your head. And inside this urn, oh, we have several good scrolls. Some basic security on this chest. Need to deal with that as well. There we go. What's in here? Spoiled cure disease potion is actually still worth selling. So is the cheap potion of light. Both of these books are worth selling, and I think they're both new as well. Let me see. Darkest Darkness is new, so we'll read it. Take it off the list. It's not a skill book like the Axeman is. Let me just verify. On the one hand, it's like, yes, of course, but okay, yes, the Axeman is a skill book, obviously. But what about Darkest Darkness? No, so we'll take that one off the list. Darkest Darkness. In Morrowind, both worshippers and sorcerers summon lesser Daedra and bound Daedra as servants and instruments. Most Daedric servants can be summoned by sorcerers only for very brief periods within the most fragile and tenuous frameworks of command and binding. This fortunately limits their capacity for mischief, though in only a few minutes, most of these servants can do terrible harm to their summoners as well as their enemies. Worshippers may bind other Daedric servants to this plane through rituals and pacts. Such arrangements result in the Daedric servant remaining on this plane indefinitely, or at least until their bodily manifestations on this plane are destroyed, precipitating their supernatural essences back to oblivion. Whenever Daedra are encountered at Daedric ruins or in tombs, they are almost invariably long-term visitors to our plane. Likewise, lesser entities bound by their Daedra lords into weapons and armor may be summoned for brief periods or may persist indefinitely, so long as they are not destroyed and banished. The class of bound weapons and bound armor summoned by temple followers and conjurers are examples of short-term bindings. Daedric artifacts, like Mehrunes Razor and the Mask of Clavicus Vile, are examples of long-term bindings. The Tribunal Temple of Morrowind has incorporated the veneration of Daedra as lesser spirits subservient to the immortal Almsibi, the triune godhead of Almalexia, Sothosil, and Vivec. These subordinate Daedra are divided into the good Daedra and the bad Daedra. The good Daedra have willingly submitted to the authority of Almsibi. The bad Daedra are rebels who defy Almsibi, treacherous kin who are more often adversaries than allies. The good Daedra are Boethia, Azura, and Mafala. The Hunger is a powerful and violent lesser Daedra associated with Boethia, father of plots, a sinuous, long-limbed, long-tailed creature with a beast-skulled head, noted for its paralyzing touch and its ability to disintegrate weapons and armor. The Winged Twilight is a messenger of Azura, goddess of dusk and dawn. Winged Twilights resemble the feral harpies of the West, though the feminine aspects of the Winged Twilights are more ravishing, and their long, sharp, hooked tails are immeasurably more deadly. Spider Daedra are the servants of Mafala, taking the form of spider humanoid centaurs with a naked upper head, torso, and arms of human proportions, mounted on the 8 legs and armored carapace of a giant spider. Unfortunately, these Daedra are so fierce and irrational that they cannot be trusted to heed the commands of the spinner. As a consequence, few sorcerers are willing to either summon or bind such creatures in Morrowind. The bad Daedra are Mehrunes Dagon, Malakath, Sheogorath, and Molag Bal. 3 lesser Daedra are associated with Mehrunes Dagon: the agile and pesky Scamp, the ferocious and beast-like Clanfear, and the noble and deadly Dramora. The crocodile-headed humanoid Daedra called the Daedroth is a servant of Molag Bal, while the giant but dim-witted Ogrim is a servant of Malakath. Sheogorath's lesser Daedra, the Golden Saint, a half-clothed human female in appearance, is highly resistant to magic and a dangerous spellcaster. Another type of lesser Daedra, often encountered in Morrowind, is the Atronach, or Elemental Daedra. Atronachs have no binding kinship or alignments with the Daedra lords, serving one realm or another at whim, shifting sides according to seduction, compulsion, or opportunity. And we can read Ngasta Kavada Kavakis and take it off our list as well. As it is obviously also not a skill book. Ngasta Kavada Kavakis, an obscure text in the language of the Slode, purportedly written by the Second-Era Western necromancer Nagasta. So as you can see, it's all gibberish. I could try to spell it out, and I think I actually did when I found this book in Skyrim, but I'm not going to bother this time. It's in the language of the Slode. You can't understand it. Let's keep looting. In this crate, we have 3 gold, a scroll of Ondusi's Unhinging, some moon sugar, a steel battle axe, and an iron broadsword, neither of which I need. In this barrel, we got moon sugar, sure. Sujama, sure. Mazda, not worth it. Cyrodiilic brandy, yes. Here we have a worn chest that's empty. In these 3 crates, moon sugar, of course. Couple more Sujama, sure. A quality restore willpower, I'll take that. Iron Warhammer, no thank you. In this crate, we have gold. We have an empty common soul gem, we'll definitely want that. Scroll of Figgy's Gym Feeder, we want that. Large Kwama egg, I'll take. Telvanni Bug Musk, I'll take. We haven't seen that before. Fortify Personality, 40 points. Sujama, I'll take. Mazda, I won't. In this crate, we have an empty Petty Soul Gem. Some Skooma, definitely worth it. An exclusive Restore Strength. A Ring of Shadow Form that we'll definitely take, because we can use it to raise enchantment if nothing else. And some weapons and armor that we really don't need. Over here. More gold. Another Soul Trap Scroll. Quality Restored Personality. And some stuff we don't need. In here, Scroll of Ondusi's Unhinging. Stuff we don't need. Gold. An axe I don't need. Let's head down. In the cloth sack, 3 salt rice, which I do want. And I'll immediately make 3 potions of Restore Health. Back here. Are these worth taking? Violet Caprinus is worth taking, because I like water walking. Luminous Rusula is worth taking, because I like water breathing. Bungler's Bane has nothing I want and isn't even worth selling, so I won't bother. Hypophagia is actually worth selling with its value to weight ratio, so I'll take it. I just wish acrobatics was already at 100, so I wouldn't have to worry about jump conservation, but at 90 it's going to take a whole lot of jumps before it levels, so I'm still not too worried. Alright, pitcher and goblets, no. In the crate we have an empty lesser soul gem, another scroll. Don't care about rat meat. Will take moon sugar. Will take hound meat. Will take exclusive restore speed. Will take a cheap potion of reflection. Over here. No need for the drum, or the tankard, or the redware pot, or the candlestick inside the crate. Gold, sugar, quality restore luck. Sure. No need for the loot. Search these urns. We got more salt rice, which I'll use in the first instance to make restore health. And then I'll use it to make a restore fatigue. Small kwama eggs, which I'll use to make more restore fatigues. In these crates we got gold. Ash yam, remember we're hoarding those for fortify intelligence. Flynn is worth taking, as is Cyrodiilic brandy. Steel shield, not so much. Let's check this crate. We got more scrolls, which I'm sure will be worthwhile. More moon sugar. A shine, which I won't take. And a Mazda, and a cheap potion of jump, which I will. 2 more crates to check. We got gold, large kwama egg, shine, and some heavy armor. And then the last one, 2 gold, moon sugar. Spoiled cure disease is still worth selling. Cyrodiilic brandy, and a ring of toxic cloud. Cool. Okay. Let's repair my beeswax. Let's see about potions. That one's just for sale. The moon sugar doesn't have anything worth using. It's only for selling. You'll have to find a Khajiit merchant to sell to. We haven't found one yet, so we'll just stash it for now, but it's worth having for sure. And that is the Cave of Panat. We're done here. Good work, team. Let's head back to town and offload once we deal with this asshole. Probably should have waited on the repair. Oh. I forgot to search the asshole's body, but racer plumes are heavy, so I tend to stash them. Oh, well, no, they aren't that heavy. What am I talking about? They're only 0.1. And we need levitation potions. And they'll be the primary ingredient in those potions because they're so ubiquitous. There we go. Shouldn't have repaired before I got back to town. That was an oversight, but can make another restore fatigue. That's good. Alright, let's head to Junolay's house first. That was a fun little stop, wasn't it? Now we'll do some offloading. I gotta look through my heavy gear too, but yeah, I've got at least steel quality everything. Except I don't have, apparently, a left gauntlet. I got helmet, I got pauldrons, I got cuirass, I got greaves, I got boots, I got shield. Yep, looks like I still need a left gauntlet, so I may need to rip back through Panat real quick just to see if there's a heavy gauntlet in there. That won't be hard. So let's stash the ash yam. Let's stash the axeman. Alright, let's stash enchanted items. Cast on use ones specifically. Let's stash useful potions, which would be levitate, restore fatigue, restore health, smash the stuff I want to sell but can't yet. That would be the skooma and the moon sugar. And one more restore fatigue. Somehow got lost in the shuffle. I don't even know why I carried those with me in the first place. We'll leave those. The Rusula and Caprinus and Racer Plumes that I'm saving can go right here. I need a spare lockpick. Let me just grab one. I like to carry two at all times. And now let's talk soul gems. Those are filled. I have 4 empties. Now I'm going to keep some of those with me. I need to count up my scrolls of Figgy's Gem Feeder. I have 4. So, leave 3 soul gems behind, keep the rest with me. Let's go do some offloading. But before I do anything with that, I just want to be fast in checking whether Panat has a heavy left gauntlet or left bracer inside. That would be a pretty monumental oversight to leave one behind, because that is still something I need. I want to know why you can't get up this hill, bro. Obviously no medium pauldrons. I had my eyes open for that and didn't see any. Those are light. Nothing down. Nothing up. The Nyx hounds will be back, but I don't care. They're so easy. Those are light. I think the other one spotted me, but no. 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 Yes, an iron left bracer. I do need that, actually. Now I'll just make sure there's not a better something somewhere. Don't want to catch the blight, so you gotta be careful here. The slaves will have disappeared now, which is nice. That steel tower shield is actually better than the Imperial shield I have back there, so I'll take that too. Good to know. Good to know. Alrighty. Now, we're done here. And shouldn't need to come back. Which is a relief, for sure. Deal with this slaughterfish. So I want his scales for water walking. And we got a rat here too. And that should be everything we'll run into. Okay. Whew. Now then, where was I? Just so much to keep track of to clear even one dungeon. Okay, so Imperial Shield versus Steel Tower Shield. Yes, the Steel Tower Shield is better. There's an iron left bracer, so I've got a full suit of heavy armor. Still waiting on medium pauldrons. Over here, what did I get? I got an extra racer plume. Yay. Got some hound meat. And I got some scales. Which one is water walking? It's a Coprinus. I'll get one of those. Drop it here. Make myself a potion of water walking. Which I'll stash here. Alright. I think everything else is for sale now. Yeah. Oh, but before we go, we might as well quaff a restore fatigue. And however many restore healths we need. The restore fatigues I'm just going to keep with me because they get used up so fast. Just generally running around. And I'll keep the hound meat with me for the same reason. The rest can remain in stash, so to speak. Okay, good. Let's go. I'll visit Ulernil first. He has the most gold of any merchant I've found so far, so he's gonna get Dravil's Orcish battle axe.
Speak freely, friend.
I guess I could run it all the way back to, what's his name,
What do you
Ariel
think of Pelagia?
in Sedanine, but that would be kind of silly. You are almost out of gold, actually. So, what can you do with 22? Well, you can take those cheap... You can take 2 of the cheap potions. Other than that, you're out. You can take the 2 hypophacias. I think that's probably it. Then we're going to have to wait for you. Now Ulernil can have the Imperial Shield.
You want something, friend?
I don't think he'll take any of the other stuff. Let's finish offloading with Mabestian. Okay, exclusive is too much. He can take a Flynn. Quality is now too much. He can take Spoiled. Standard is now too much. He can take a Sujama. Okay, good. That's not bad. Let's do another pass. Another quality is too much. He knew standard. And that's fine. I certainly don't mind passing time. Alright, we're getting into scrolls now. The only ones I need to hold on to are soul trappers. Whoa. Yep, that's too much too, which is fine. Let's do another one. I guess that one is more than he can handle, but that's fine. Nearly done now. This should be the last one. Okay, good. Next step is to just quickly fill these soul gems. Let's put the scrolls as our active magic, because I know where we can find 4 critters in a hurry. A diseased scrib. A diseased mud crab. Let's go ahead and harvest these marshmallows while we're here. Because those will come in handy. There's another mud crab over here someplace. It usually is anyway. Now this is Punammu. A Fighters Guild quest is going to send us here eventually, so we're going to ignore it for now. Crushed fiber's worth selling. That's about all it's good for. We'll get these marshmallows as well. There's a critter. Kagooty. Not even worth taking his hide. Alright. With that, quaff a restore health. And a restore fatigue. We'll head back to Junela's to drop off our new filled up soul gems. I enjoy my new dwarven halberd immensely, I must say. So, we are dropping off the filled soul gems. Things that we can use to raise enchant. Got 3 empties. I got a few little things that are just for sale. And then the last thing to check before we pick a new place to go is going to be a lock. Did that extra rank of security give us access to any new locks? So 45 is the lowest we've been heretofore unable to pick. And we have a nice test lock right here on Nasi's house. It is still too complex, so the answer is no. So with that, we're ready to pick a new spot. Let me take some notes. Okay, let me check my map. I actually think I've got something. Ah, good. All right. Our next stop is another smuggler's cave. Surprise, surprise. It's a place called Punammu, which is just about due east of the one we just cleared, Panat. So, as I finish writing down all these notes, and I do apologize for the delay, but it helps me stay organized, which in the long run is a lot better than flailing about on camera, I assure you. Alrighty. Phew. There we go. So, I'm reviewing my notes, and in order to reach, let me make sure I have everything I want. Oh yeah, I'm good. Beyond good. In order to access everything I might want, I will need to bring either a levitation potion or a water walking potion. Since I have so many more water walking ingredients, I think I'll bring no, I'm gonna do water walking, actually. I'll bring levitate just in case. Okay, let's go. Let me make a save here in town, since all that went so well. Do a new stock of saves, and then we'll head out again. Yes, I have enough repair tools, I've got security tools, I've got everything I need. Good. Probably gonna have to fight that guar. Such is life. It's not really a big deal. Guar hide. Not worth it. I do need to get rid of corpses, just to keep things running smoothly. From here, we just need to keep following the coast east, and you'll see another smuggler's cave almost straight away. Might have to swim to get there. At least with the route I took. And here is Punammu. Let's catch our breath and head inside. Nick sound right away. Restore fatigue and handle him. Alright. Further in, there's another Nick sound to be dealt with similarly. There's a dead rat, which we can't dispose of. That's interesting. And at a three-way junction, we have two unlocked, untrapped gates. A live rat. And some underwater tunnels. Now, we do want to explore these underwater tunnels. So, let me take a couple of notes and then we'll take this dive. This is where raising athletics early really pays off. We can explore underwater areas like this without too much trouble because we can swim quickly. And get my bearings. There's the ledge I jumped off of. There's the tunnel moving forward. Okay. Now let's swim through here. It's very straightforward. There's nothing inside here. You'll notice a couple of other places where you can come into here, but the advantage of these tunnels is that that you can get in behind the bandits and get to the loot early. And the loot is these sets of raw diamonds. There are 2 blocks of them in particular. I don't think there's anything down in the water, despite the depth it's showing. And to reach that one is why we brought our potions. I think water walking works to reach it. Yes, it does. We'll take that too. Now we'll wait for it to wear off. It's floating torch aside, the way actually out of here remains underwater. But we got our diamonds. Pretty cool. I would have guessed that was the tunnel, and I would have been wrong. It's up higher. It's right here. Alright. Well, someone has seen us already. Yeah, 8 diamonds, nothing to shake a stick at. But I don't actually have any use for any of this, so they're just for sale, which is fine because they sell for a boatload. Now, who is this? That is Darvinia Hlaren, who doesn't have anything worthwhile. I don't even want her potion. I recognize this area. Who do we have back here? I'm sure there's someone. Well, I guess we can check these crates while we're at it. Yeah, I'll take all of those. I'll take that. Take that. Take that. Not that. Not that. Yes, that. Yes. No. Yes. Yes. No. No. Yes. Yes. Now this could be interesting. That's a skill book. Which skill is it? I can't remember. Mercantile. Yeah, we'll hold on to that for sure. I did not realize you could find skill books in random loot. That's crazy. And there's a little gold. And now we can handle the next batter. Derena Lervu. Alrighty. Let's handle her. Well, we'll take her gold. I have no interest in anything else. Alrighty, boy. We got two in here. Galdrus Ieneth and Fanus Ferrano. He's got nothing. What about you? Cool. Okay, need to pop a restore health. What do we have here? Scroll of invisibility, sure. Potion of water walking, yes. Standard rising force potion. Actually need that for one of my pilgrimages. So that's good. Make sure we keep that. Here we have an apprentice's lockpick, always good. An emerald, definitely worth it. Can actually make a restore health potion, and I actually consider that a better use than just selling it. Now the Prayers of Baranat is a hand-to-hand skill book. Okay. Oh, goodness. I think it's hand-to-hand. I'll double check. Yeah. I'm saving hand-to-hand to increase speed when I'm ready, so I'll just stash that for now. Let's look around, let's look around. Iron short sword, don't care. Gold's obviously worthwhile. Let's unlock this ancient chest. What's in here? Nothing great. That's fine, though. going. Take these. Make another fatigue potion right quick. Take the gold. Ooh, arrows. Always worth it. Spoiled still sells well enough, but grief does not. Ooh, perfect. I'll make a restore health with that salt rice as well. Alright, let's head down. Check these crates. Take that, take that. Bargain is no good. Cool. Alright, let's make our way back out here. It's very liberating, actually, with enough Fallout 4 survival mode under my belt to have finally let go of the need to take everything. I'm far more functional now, I think. Now let's take a restore fatigue. So we're about to fight two dudes, Fendros Varus and who's the other dude? I guess we'll get there. Dodge his spell like a boss. It's Lavam Adas. Didn't hurt anything besides my health, right? As long as my health is all that got hurt, I don't really care. Alright, let's quaff and restore health. He doesn't have anything good. Neither does his buddy. Preserved ancient key, as fun as it sounds, is not actually necessary. I will take that Sujama though. And we're back at the original three-way intersection. Let's see what's through that final gate. Couple of buckets and some bubbles, which must be designed to show something, but hell if I know what. But we're done here. Let's make our way back to town. That was fun though. So I'll show you a couple of other locations that are nearby that we aren't messing with yet. That's, this is the Andis farmhouse. it features in a... Well, actually, no, I don't... I gotta take that back because I don't think we are skipping it. We may go there next, actually. I'm gonna fill my gems while I'm still out here. I think I just blocked that attack. No, I didn't. Okay, good. Okay. Let's take another restore fatigue. And another restore health. Yeah, I need to hit Junalays first. And pick up 2 more empty soul gems. Before I can really properly use these up. But I might as well fill the 2 I've got. That was awesome. Okay. So, with Quama Cuddle, I can either do water breathing or water walking. Water breathing is generally more useful, so that's the one I'm gonna do. What else do I have here, though? Oh, just do what you set out to do first. Ah, but see, it's also gonna drain fatigue if I do that. Now, it's going to have a drain fatigue no matter what. And I don't really care. Why am I using an ash yam? I don't know, man. Get your act together. Alright. So now we'll put those Rusula back. Stash the ash yams. We're going to go ahead and sell the diamonds, but we'll stash the moon sugar over here. I'm going to grab 2, well, I'm going to stash 2 full soul gems. Grab 2 empties. Leave 1 for later. Can stash this apprentice's lockpick. Can stash the prayers of Baranat. Can stash 2920 Sun's Height. These are all for sale. Need to stash the Rising Force potion for use in the later pilgrimage. And I need to find my stack of iron arrows and stash the ones I found. And I need to stash all these enchanted rings. They'll make the eventual job of grinding out enchant much, much easier. But we aren't there yet. I think everything else is for sale. At first, let's just quickly trap 2 more souls. I know just where to go to. A scrib over here, that's nice and easy, but even easier probably are 2 of these 3 mud crabs that always spawn in right over here. There's a restore fatigue potion. There. Let's go ahead and take one of those restore fatigue potions while we're at it. Having alchemy maxed out is a great feeling too. Even though I still only have an apprentice's mortar and pestle, I feel quite free to actually use potions, which is invaluable at these early stages of the game, before we get our final constant effect equipment that just keeps our fatigue maxed at all times. Alright, we are now going to offload. Everything we're carrying has to go to Mevestian. That's fine. Oh. I took an actual hit. I almost didn't notice. We'll keep our gear repaired too. It's always good. Alrighty. Brandy is too much. Which means that's definitely going to be too much. Even quality is too much. He can handle spoiled. That's good. Now, I need to... Yeah, I don't want to do that. Drain fatigue I can handle, but... Okay. What about Sujama? We can take one. No way he can take a diamond yet. Okay. Fair enough. Now I actually screwed up and held on to a few things I meant to stash. It's no big deal though. Just a few potions, honestly. That one. And that one. And that one. Yeah, the rest stay with me. Alrighty. I'm looking. In fact, I think we will do the Andis farmhouse next because I don't think this is... There are certain House Lalu, well, there are certain faction quests you can do without joining the particular faction. There are several Lalu quests in particular that have this aspect to them, but I don't think that this one is one of them. Yeah, so we'll do the Andis farmhouse next. We'll head over there. We already know where it is. It's pretty close by. But for now, we've got things to sell.
I find you most interesting right now. Please, go ahead.
Alrighty, so have some brandy, and some exclusive potions, and some Flynn. Good. Good, good, good.
You want something, friend?
Ooh, yeah, those diamonds go for a lot. See, we're still making tons of money. That's without the absurd tedium of carting absolutely everything back and forth under the game's carry weight restrictions. Awesome. Alright, we're set. We're set. So we're rolling up on the 2-hour mark, so I think I need to end this video. But I will simply go to the Andis farmhouse, which is over here, due east of Fort Pelagiad. Oh shit. Oh, talk about not paying attention. Jesus. Alright, let's try again. To be clear, it's not that I mind fighting the Nick sound, I just don't want to get ganked from behind. Let's try that again. Much better. The wilderness is a dangerous place, even if you think you've cleared it out. Now, scribs are non-hostile, but they're actually worth hunting. Because scrib jelly can cure blight diseases. Alright. Here we are at the Andis farmhouse, ready to visit with Loven Andis. And I think I'm going to end the video here. This has been Let's Play Morrowind. It's good to be back. It's good to have such a vast chunk of grinding done and be out exploring again. Next time we'll chat with Mr. Andis, see what his deal is, check his farm for useful goodies, and keep exploring. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your patience. If you enjoy my videos, please consider liking, sharing, or subscribing, any or all of which really help me out. Regardless, please know that I really appreciate the fact that you watched, and I hope you have a fantastic day.